Hello, I am Dylan Sullivan.
I am Lauren Sutton.
Welcome.
And this is Wasted Minutes.
Wasted Minute. Welcome to our podcast. We did a little bit of a rebrand.
We did.
You redesigned our logo and website, and
the
it looks really
entire
good.
website.
Have you made new stickers yet to sell on Redbubble?
I have.
Oh, they're on sale now?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll link to those. We'll link to your Redbubble store again in the show notes.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to buy new stickers now because mine are, depending on how you look at them, they're either outdated or they're rare vintage collector's items. I'm excited to have new stickers, Lauren.
I'm glad you're excited.
Thank you for doing an amazing job at designing an amazing logo that I really like.
I really like it too, and I'm happy I completely redid the the website.
I felt like our old logo looked too much like we were trying to be a late night show.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it does a better job of matching the vibe.
Mm-hmm. I like coffee.
I'm glad you like coffee. It's pretty good. Is that it? Is that your entire opinion?
I'm just still caught up on the fact that I wake up to the sound of my coffee being stirred.
You're talking about this sound.
Yeah.
So here's the funny thing about Lauren is that Lauren doesn't like hot coffee, which is not unusual. There are plenty of people who don't like coffee. You like coffee, you just only like iced coffee for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
You like an occasional, like certain kind of espresso beverage from our favorite mermaid mascotted coffee chain of choice. But other than that, when we have coffee at home, you like iced coffee.
I don't think I've ever made warm coffee at home or hot coffee.
You make it for me.
No, yeah, but not for me. Like, ever.
Honestly, like, I kind of wish that you liked hot coffee. It just make things so much easier. Like, I'd probably use our French press a lot more. I'd probably just make a bunch of coffee, just put the kettle on, make it in the French press, and then I'd get one of those, like French press warming blanket things that my grandparents put over their French press to keep the coffee warm. I'd probably do that.
How about this? I will try hot coffee once a year.
Once a year?
Yes.
What about once every 2 months?
Okay, that's good too.
Okay.
But I'm not saying I will have that in place of iced coffee. Like, I will also have iced coffee, but I will try hot coffee. And then eventually, maybe I'll start to like it.
Okay, so how about we do this? So how about...
Or we could get an espresso machine.
Okay, so how about we do this? How about... Because I'm going to have hot coffee anyway, except for today when I'm drinking tea because it's sicky season in New York right now. I'm going to have hot coffee anyway. So you can just try some of mine. Or no, because I like my coffee black and you're going to want sugar, probably cream as well. Or no, because you can't have dairy.
No, I'll want my special syrup.
Your
my
special
homemade
proprietary
coffee syrup.
Yeah, your special proprietary homemade coffee syrup. I think it's actually, we talk about it all the time offline. I think it's really impressive that you do that. I don't know about impressive. It's a little bit impressive. Not because it's hard. Not because it's hard to do. The way that it started was like you were buying coffee syrup from the store, and it was really expensive. It was like $5 a bottle, and you would need like a new one every 10 or 12 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's got to be a cheaper alternative. So you tried making simple syrup, just, dissolve sugar in water, and then that was crystallizing. So you found a unique solution.
Yeah. So now it's like a mixture of regular sugar and brown sugar and water.
Yeah, so somehow mixing the brown sugar in there
keeps it from crystallizing.
It's very
interesting.
I think you've kept a bottle of your coffee syrup in the fridge for like I think you've kept it in there for a month.
Yeah, and it hasn't gone bad.
It hasn't gone bad, hasn't crystallized, hasn't gone moldy.
Yeah. Pretty good.
It's pretty astonishing.
I still want to make my own like little labels. So what we do is I love maple syrup, right? With pancakes and such. So we get the glass bottles from Trader Joe's or wherever of maple syrup. And when we run out of that, then we wash it and I end up using that for my coffee syrup.
Yeah, we'll save those empty bottles. Not all the time because like right now I think we have enough bottles. So at this point, like if we run out of a bottle of maple syrup, we'll just like recycle it.
Yeah.
I recently, like I have been gravitating more toward desiring glass containers for things like syrup because I don't know, I've been hearing about like, you know, plastic recycling. Apparently, like when you recycle plastic, a lot of the times it just doesn't get recycled because some jurisdictions, like most of them don't do their own recycling, right? So we're talking about the US right now as well. So maybe you live in a county that has a recycling program, but they don't actually have the recycling facility. So they'll send it off to like another county that does and they'll recycle it. But most of the time what people do is they just sell all of their garbage or recycling and it ends up getting bought by somebody in China. And that's why China has such heaping piles of landfill is like it's just our garbage.
Yeah, not great. I still think it's wild that at my hometown, Chesapeake, Virginia, they just like discontinued recycling.
Yeah, they stopped their recycling program. And I think your grandma said Virginia Beach is doing it as well.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. The way your hometown works, it's interesting. It's like it's just like a bunch of cities that are right next to each other that have all sprawled out to form one giant suburban hellscape. So we'll be driving from your parents' house to your grandma's house. It'll take like half an hour and we'll just be driving along this Stroad at like 35, 45 miles an hour the whole time. And we'll just get to a sign where it says, "Welcome to Virginia Beach," but it's just like the same neighborhood. And the funny thing as well is that like Virginia Beach has this like really nice fancy sign that's really pretty. But when you come back the other way into Chesapeake, it's like they either don't have a sign or it's just like a really crappy one.
Yeah, well,
you know what a Stroad is, right?
No.
Okay. Basically it is a street that is
On a road?
It's a street that's built like a road. So any town you're in where it's just this super wide road, the speed limit might be 30 to 45 miles per hour, and it'll just be this endless chain of shopping centers, and then every now and then there'll be a separate road that goes off to like residential neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's a Stroad. That sounds like my hometown, except at a couple of bridges.
Yep, Stroad City. There are a lot of bridges in your area because you live in an actual swamp.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's funny, like the names of schools. Like, all right, Cedar Road Elementary School off of Cedar Road.
Right.
We have Great Bridge Middle School and Great Bridge High School, which are right by the Great Bridge.
It's a bridge. It's a bridge. The name of this bridge is called the Great Bridge.
Yes.
And it has like a historical connection.
Yeah. You know, like
the Civil War. Yeah, it's from the Civil War. There's a Civil War museum at the Great Bridge.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep thinking of Hamilton and then I get confused.
Well, there was not Chesapeake, but in Yorktown there was the Revolutionary War.
Well, they mentioned Chesapeake in one of the
They mentioned the
songs.
Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah.
Lafayette was there waiting in Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah.
In the water.
But that was close enough to Chesapeake. So
yeah,
that's where I drew the connection. Anyway.
Yeah. Funny enough, the city of Chesapeake, not on a body of water, not on the Chesapeake Bay. It's inland from it.
Yep. We love that. But yeah, my high school, Grassfield High School, and guess why it got that name? Because there's a giant grass field.
There's just a field. There just happens to be a field, and so they called it Grassfield High School. Better than that, I like this is going away from your hometown. This is in Indianapolis now, one of my spiritual hometowns. So you get a package, all right? You look at the tracking information. It's coming from FedEx. And you see that it has arrived at the distribution center in Plainfield, Indiana. And I'm like, wait a second. I know what's going on here. So when you drive to the Indianapolis airport or from it, you look out on the highway and there's like basically another airport connected to the Indianapolis International Airport that is just FedEx planes. So FedEx like owns this airport. So Indianapolis built a new airport. That's what their airport is now. Then FedEx bought the old one from them. That's what that is. So when it says it comes from Plainfield, it's coming from that airport, but the town where the airport is called Plainfield.
We love that.
That never does not make me laugh. Like I always love whenever I see that. It's coming from Plainfield.
Oh, like a plane.
Did you not get that?
No, I was thinking like a plain field, like the field is plain.
It's spelled that way. It's spelled Plain.
I think
field.
that's why I was confused. And I was like, wow, you're very amused by a plain field. And I like didn't get it until I just like made that very exaggerated. Oh,
I don't know if it was already called Plainfield because it's not spelled like plain like airplane. It's spelled plain like plain like
it's
plain
a
yogurt.
Pun.
I don't know if the town was already called that and then the airport was and it just happened to be a coincidence, or if some local authority was just like
illiterate.
They thought they were being funny and they decided to call this unincorporated territory Plainfield.
But they spelled plain wrong.
Nah, I think if that was the case, they did that on purpose as like a bit.
I just thought of another school, Hickory High School.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why would it be called Hickory? I'm like, Hicks?
Oh my God.
Maybe?
Oh my God.
I don't know. Like we have Great Bridge by the Great Bridge. We have grass field within a grass field. And we have Hickory. Yeah.
You're saying you don't know where this name comes from?
I'm saying maybe it means Hicks.
Hickory is a type of tree.
Oh. I don't know if there are those trees in Hickory. I mean, I guess there are trees in the area.
You know when you buy bacon and it'll say like
Hickory Farms?
Hickory. Well, I don't know about Hickory Farms, but it'll say like Hickory smoked bacon. So that means it was smoked with like hickory, like wood chips from hickory wood. Smithfield, the brand famous for bacon, you'll see them in grocery stores everywhere. They are located in Smithfield, Virginia, which is right by your hometown. And it turns out their bacon factory is like right across the street from the public high school. I think that town has, I'm probably going to mess up the statistic, but it's okay. They have like the most vegetarians per capita or something like that because they see how the bacon industry works.
Yeah.
And they see how the sausage is made, so to speak. And then they just like are like, I'm having none of that. I'm a vegetarian now. Don't like that.
Kind of like your cousin who is scarred by the Minecraft sounds of killing cows. And so he's now a vegetarian.
Yeah, my cousin who is a vegetarian in real life because he doesn't like killing animals in Minecraft. So he went from being a vegetarian in Minecraft to being a vegetarian in real life.
Wild. He's also a child.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousin is a literal child at time of recording.
So I looked up Hickory, Virginia, because I was going to see if like why is it called Hickory?
Is it a neighborhood or a town name?
It's a community.
Okay, so it's a neighborhood.
I'm going to read it. So it's a very small Wikipedia page, but it's a wild ride. So Hickory is a small rural unincorporated community located within the independent city of Chesapeake in the U.S. state of Virginia. Hickory lies in the southern portion of the city and is adjacent to North Carolina-Virginia border. Most of Hickory is either rural farmland or wealthy suburban neighborhoods, all right? And that's just like whatever, right? So one more paragraph in the entire Wikipedia page. Hickory High School is where New York Mets star David Wright matriculated from. Its school colors are teal, gray, black, and white. Its school mascot is a hawk. The school once made news when students held a Confederacy Day parade in the front lawn.
Oh my goodness.
However, it continues to rank at the top of Virginia schools for test scores and overall academic quality and rigor.
Okay, when was this Confederacy Day parade? Tell me it was in like the 50s.
I'm looking it up. Confederacy Day parade.
It's gonna be in like 2012 or something like
Hickory High School. Let's see.
Oh my goodness, your hometown.
It was in the 2000s, like 2000.
All right, cool, great, love that. I mean, at least it wasn't your high school.
Yeah, that's good. That was just a wild ride.
It's less bad, is what it is.
Oh gosh, it's so bad.
You know how like your stepdad and stepbrother, they do Revolutionary War reenactments?
Yeah.
Have they ever gotten into Civil War reenactments, or that they haven't gotten into that yet?
I'm not sure.
I can't I don't know. I feel like they always play the rebels, the American colonists whenever they do the Revolutionary War reenactments. They're always on the American colonist side. And okay. I'm like, I wonder if they have a hard time finding people who want to play the British side. I wonder if at Civil War reenactments, depending on where they are, do they have trouble finding people who want to play the Confederacy?
I really hope they have trouble. I very much hope that there is a struggle to find people who want to play that part.
It will probably depend on where the reenactment is happening, like what battle they're reenacting.
Yeah.
And like how close the local community feels to one side or the other.
It's crazy.
Yeah, ugh. Terrible. I will say right now, assuming that like there was no, like I didn't have to pay a bunch of money for it, because it is expensive to do those reenactments. You have all the costumes, and like people have like actual muskets and stuff like that you can rent or buy.
Yeah.
I would play the British side if they were having trouble finding people to do it, because I really like their uniforms. I think their uniforms are really nice. And a lot of the times the colonists, the American side is like a lot of the times what they're reenacting is like just local militiamen, and so they're just like farmers who happen to have guns, and they're just like dressed up in like peasant clothes basically.
Huh.
And then or maybe they have like, you know, like less uniforms. I don't know. I'm probably talking out of my ass, and
it seems like it. And
if your family is listening, they're probably like pulling their hair out.
Oh yeah, no, most likely.
Are they listening?
My mom listened to one episode.
Was it the last one?
Yes.
Where we said that they don't listen?
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
Figures.
Nice.
I'm just happy she figured out how to listen to podcasts.
I mean, that alone.
She isn't very like technologically adept. Is that the right word?
Yeah. I mean, that alone will have increased our listenership by like
one.
Like, I don't know, like 18% or something like that.
Probably. Did I tell you about the printer thing at work?
No, you did not tell me about the printer thing at work.
So this girl I work with, Annie, she was called into the back room by our maintenance manager to do something. And I like caught a glimpse, and she was just like unwrapping paper. So I think she was just filling the printer with paper. And a couple minutes later, she comes out to the front desk and is like, Nikki. And Nikki is a trainer who she's like in her 30s, right? But she looks like really young. But she goes, Nikki, I need someone old. Can you come in here? And we're just kind of like, what? Like, for starters, just like, I need someone old. Nikki, can you come in here? Like, it has to be Nikki because she is old, but she isn't that old. And we're like, what is the issue? I'm like, aren't you just loading paper? She's like, I just need someone old.
Someone old.
Yeah. And so we go in there and the paper's like sideways. She couldn't figure out how to load the paper.
Like she tried to load it in from, like she was supposed to load it in with the short end facing in, but
No.
Okay.
No, there's like a little prong you like click to like extend the section out to fit the paper.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, so in the tray, it's like they have this, it's like this little foot, right?
Yeah.
That you have to pull out in order to load the paper in. And then when you put the paper in, you like close the foot and that like keeps the paper in place, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go in there and it's just like lying like half on top of the little prong. And I'm just like, what is this? She's like, I couldn't figure it out. She's like, I don't know how to do it. And I'm just like I go up there and I immediately figure it out. Like I've never done it before, like, you know, but like it's common sense. You just like, you see a little tab, you click it, it opens it to fit the paper.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Has she like never loaded a printer before?
Not that kind of printer, I guess. I don't know. Because it was like one of the big printers, like the commercial sized.
Like copy machine sized or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like still, like it was, I don't know. It was just crazy. It was so funny though. She's not like super young. She's like 24.
Yeah, that's really weird. I feel like, I don't know, I guess like if that's the first place you've ever worked where you have a printer, then I guess that makes sense. But like, I don't know, like growing up, like we didn't always have a printer at home, but like we went through periods of time where we had a printer and...
Yeah, but it's different than that kind of printer.
Yeah, but I still understand like the mechanism that you're talking about. It's still, at the end of the day, it's just like you're loading paper into a tray.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a little funny.
It's pretty funny. It's not a very long story, but it's short and sweet and it's humorous.
I like it.
Yeah.
Do a little story time segment.
Yeah, there we go. No water segment.
So last night I'm out to take out the trash, and so I go down to the bottom of our building, and we have this really old neighbor who lives on the floor below us. We live on the third floor. She lives on the second floor. She's like super old. Like she could be in her 90s, but she's probably like 72. And she's
not 72. My grandma's like in her 70s.
I don't know. She's old.
She's definitely like late 80s.
She's physically slow.
Yes.
And so it's like every time I only see her like maybe 5 or 6 times a month. And every time I find myself in a situation where she's going into the building and I have to wait for her, it's like I will just stand outside for like 5 minutes before I try and enter the building, because I don't want to be in the awkward situation of just standing on the stairs behind her while she's walking up to her second floor apartment. So she comes in. So I see her coming in, and so I hold the door open for her to come into the building. And she says something about the weather or something like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's weather, isn't there? And she was like, it's super crowded outside. And I was like, yeah, no, I was like riding the bus earlier today and there were like 50 people on it and I had to stand the whole time. And it was like the most crowded bus I've ever been on that wasn't an airport bus. It's wild. And then she says, I mean, like, what are we going to do about all these damn Mexicans? And inside I'm like,
oh my God.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh no. And so like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you're just like standing there making chit chat? Just like you, a regular person in your mid-20s with this like octogenarian, whatever she is, like you're not gonna just stand there and tell this like ancient lady who the company who owns your building is literally like waiting for her to die so they can rent out her apartment for more than $900 a month. You're not going to tell that kind of person, like, you know, you should really be less racist. Like, this is not a hill that I want to fight and die on, is like trying to convince an 88-year-old woman to be more politically correct. but like you're standing there and you're like, I gotta think of something to say in order to, because the conversation hasn't really reached a natural conclusion yet. And I was like, yeah, the bus, there are a lot of people on the bus earlier
your
today.
You go from there are tons of people on the bus, blah, 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 blah.
And then she's like, what are we going to do about all these Mexicans?
And then you're like...
And then I go back to there being a lot of people on the bus.
There's a lot of people on the bus. Oh, gosh. But I'm sure she won't remember it.
I mean, what I actually said, she might not remember it. I think I've introduced myself to her at least twice.
I love that.
And I think the second time I introduced myself to her, I mentioned like what apartment we were in, and it's like the one right above her. And I couldn't tell if she was like, oh, you live in that apartment. I couldn't tell if she was like that or not, because one time I think she had a guest staying with her who was super upset
oh my God.
with us like existing basically.
So
he was upset with like the amount of noise that is created in their ceiling from us living above them.
Yeah, and for the record, this apartment is 103 years old.
Yeah, our building was built in like 1920 or something like that.
Yes, it was 1920.
According to the city's records, it could be older than that for all we know.
Yeah. So the floors are extremely squeaky. Our cat makes it squeak. She doesn't weigh a lot. I mean, she's a little overweight, but like...
Yeah, but she's a cat.
She's
like,
a cat.
She weighs...
The fact that she makes the floor creak, it's the floor.
She weighs like 12 and a half pounds.
Yeah.
and she makes the floor creak.
Yep.
So like this guy, he came up to our apartment like... This is a while ago. Like we haven't been bothered by anybody since then. But like... It was like maybe like a year and a half ago or something like that. And he came up, and originally he was just like, he was polite, he was friendly, he was like, hey, like I work nights, and so I try and sleep during the day, and so if you can try and keep it down a little bit, I'd appreciate that. And I'm like, oh yeah, no worries, I didn't realize that we were being that loud, we'll try and be more mindful. And then we just like go about our normal life, and it's not like we're out here, like we don't do like a lot of exercises in the house. We don't have a regular vacuum cleaner. We have like a Roomba.
Yeah.
And so it's not like our upstairs neighbor where we can hear them vacuuming their apartment.
Or doing a rowing machine or whatever they're doing.
Or bowling balls. Whatever it is. I'm not bothered by upstairs neighbors. That's just me.
Fine.
That's just me though. But this guy, like, apparently he can just hear us walking.
Yeah.
And that's enough to bother him, to the point where, like, he would... I don't even know if it was the same guy, but, like, he came up and knocked on the door one time, like, super aggressively.
He did it multiple times. So the first time that it happened, I remember because you were sitting on the desk chair at the desk, and you were watching a video or playing a game or something, and I was repotting our money plant, our money tree. So I was sitting on the ground, repotting it. That's the first time he came up and was like, I need you to be more quiet. And we're like, not even moving.
Yeah, like maybe you made a little thud on the floor when you like dropped a bag of dirt or something like that.
Yeah, but like it's a tiny bag of dirt. It's like a pound. What?
And you said that we like weren't moving other than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting on the ground. You were sitting on the chair.
Yeah.
And then I remember the next time I was doing exercises, but I was like just doing crunches. I did like 4 crunches.
On a yoga mat.
Yeah. And he comes up and he starts banging on the door and he's like, you need to be more quiet. And like, he's like, you're like stomping. And I'm like,
and what time is it? It's like 3 or 4 in the afternoon or something like that.
He's like, I work at night, so this is when I sleep. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even doing anything. And I was just like, again, polite. I was just like, sorry about that. Like, I was not stomping or anything. I was just walking across the apartment.
I mean, maybe he just can't tell the difference. Like, he just hears the noise.
Oh, that was so stressful, though, because it was like he constantly did that. I got to the point where we just stopped answering the door.
Yeah, literally, if we ever heard anybody knock for that period of time, we just did not answer.
Well, because it was also like really aggressive, and it's like we're not loud neighbors.
We don't do anything that would not be considered like normal movement.
I mean,
within our
okay, I
apartment.
guess a couple of times we like run around, but like,
Yeah, but that's like lots of people do that.
yeah, just the normal running.
Yeah, you trying to like spray me with a spray bottle or something like that.
Yeah,
because
normal.
Because you think it's fun.
Yeah, normal stuff. Like
Yeah.
taking your AirPods and running across the apartment to hide it in like the silverware drawer or the microwave.
Yep. Or taking my glasses.
Okay, I don't do that anymore.
And then when you took my glasses, you like unintentionally scraped them against the wall and scratched my lens
I'm sorry.
like that. Kind of
Yeah.
running around.
I don't do that with your glasses anymore, okay?
You have not touched my glasses since that event.
I have not.
But before that, you did.
Yeah.
Like
'cause I
semi-regularly.
would put them in the microwave or the oven.
Because you think it's hilarious to play with my... You wear glasses too, right? It's like, it's not like you don't know the struggle.
Yeah. It's just so funny. Like, it's kind of like how I like hiding without telling you. And then it's like hide and seek, but you don't know, but I do it with your stuff. I just take your things and I hide them and I
I'll
wait.
hide my phone while I'm like in the shower or something.
Yeah. In like really weird places.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
I love it. It's great. It's great. It's awesome.
It's my favorite pastime.
This guy broomed us a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, I think while I was pumping up my bike tires.
You were being really loud for that. But it was the
I was
middle
just,
of the
I was
day.
just pumping up my bike tires.
Yeah.
And, like, then I got broomed. And I'm like, okay, I guess maybe I was pumping my tires too loudly. I mean, like all the, I don't know. I'm willing to accept that maybe we do step more loudly than normal people. Like, if that turns out to be true and somebody tells me, then I will accept that.
I have been told I have a heavy foot.
I would believe that we have heavy feet.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it's
still normal. It's not.
we're not doing it. And the other thing is like, hey man, look, I'm sorry that you know that we're interrupting your sleep. I wish I wasn't. I am really trying to walk more quietly, but it feels like no matter what I do, it just bothers you.
Yeah.
And like we bought new carpets.
Yep.
Like we wanted to buy carpets anyway.
Yeah, we did.
And this was just like gave us a reason to do it. And I'm like, look, bro, I like spent money to try and be more courteous to you. And I'm sorry that me living my normal life is still affecting you. Because also, like, it was just normal daylight hours. Well, considered normal daylight hours.
It's like 3 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, that's also kind of like, that's a society thing, you know, like there are people who don't work during the standard, like daytime, like 8 to 5.
But they're in like the minority.
Well, I don't know if they're in the minority, but like it's,
well, legally.
Yeah, that's the
there
thing.
are
Is that
hours.
The law is structured for people who work during the daylight hours.
And nobody else has this much of an issue with it.
Well, nobody else that we've encountered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, you know, I think a lot more about, you know, people who work at off hours and like, oh, you know, it kind of sucks that like the law is not structured for them or like structured around them, I guess you could say. Like it's okay for people to make noise while they have to sleep, but not while we have to sleep. Kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the solution to that is, but it's just like, you know, it sucks, I guess. It's kind of like how when I worked in theater, like when I was a sound engineer, I stopped telling people have a good weekend because when you work in live events, you just like most of the time you work most weekends. And so you just don't end up saying that to people. All right, Lauren. Real quick, I'm going to do a This Week in Water.
Why? Why?
So we went to a restaurant last night and they brought out a glass bottle that had some water in it, and
Crazy.
you were in the bathroom and they were like, would you like tap, still, or sparkling? And I was like, tap, I guess. And they're like, okay. They took the bottle they already had in their hand and just put it on the table. All right, that's it. That's This Week in Water.
At least it was short and sweet, except not sweet, just really boring.
You didn't have any follow-up questions, so
that's not like there isn't any kind of follow-up question to have with that.
What's the difference between still and tap? Like, you know the difference between still and sparkling. Like, still, I guess, is just like bottled water. Like, do you want bottled water that you have to pay money for, or do you want tap water for free?
Or it could just be like cold water. Like, it could be just tap water that's cold. I don't know.
Yeah. But then you could just ask them for a cup of ice if you want cold water.
Yeah, but then it'll be too cold.
I think the room temperature tap water we had at dinner last night was lovely.
No.
No? You didn't like it?
No, usually I'm like fine with like water like that. But it was like it was warm. Like it was more warm
it was
than
not
usual.
Warm. It was room temperature.
It was warm.
Okay, if the first bottle we had was warm, then the second bottle we had was room temperature. It was definitely colder.
Yeah.
There was condensation on the bottle.
Yeah.
But
that was fine.
That does not change the fact that the water was not warm. It was room temperature. It was a perfect temperature.
It wasn't.
It was great.
It was room temperature if the room is hot.
It was perfect room temperature, delicious New York City tap water that I love.
You're so weird.
No.
Yeah, you are.
Because I like water.
You did a YouTube video where you tried making coffee with tap water, with like Brita water, and with water from a local like stream.
It was a spring.
Close.
It was a naturally occurring
spring
in the state park.
Close enough. And
we'll link that video in the show notes.
And you preferred the tap water.
Well, the reason that one is weird is because it was at my parents' house where like it's well water. And so the tap water has like sulfur and stuff in it. It's like, oh no, that's not. That's
yum,
not
yum.
Good.
Yum, yum, sulfur.
I don't know. Maybe my body just wants more chemicals. I mean, like everybody else in that video who tasted the coffee had the same preference, which was that they preferred the water from the Brita filter. So like, obviously I'm wrong.
Yeah,
is
you
the
are.
Conclusion of that. Also, it's not the most scientific, but like,
I don't care.
Outside of a blind test, I will not drink straight up tap water at my parents' house because I'm afraid to. Like, I will drink it out of the filter.
That's good, at least.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have to. Like, you can't drink straight up tap water at the house because it just like comes from the ground, basically.
I'm pretty sure I've drank straight up tap water before.
I mean, you probably can. It's not that bad, but like, I wouldn't.
I hate this segment.
All right, this has been This Week in Water.
I hate you.
I made the segment short and then you dragged it out.
Because I'm just so angry about it. Like, why?
I love it. It's my favorite segment.
It isn't. You're wrong.
No, I'm right that it's my favorite segment.
No, you're not. Your opinions are invalid.
I'm sorry that you think that.
No, you're not.
No, not really. Actually, I'm not. I like doing This Week in Water.
1 week, you're going to be like, This Week in Water, and I'm going to take an already like loaded bucket of ice water. I'm going to pour it on your head and on all the audio equipment. And I'm going to be like, This Week in Water.
Sure. If you want to do This Week in Water that way, if you will pay to replace all the equipment.
No.
And if you want to pay to redo the 100-year-old floors that are now ruined because you poured water all over them.
These floors are already ruined.
Yeah. There's like a giant hole in the floor on my side of the bed that has just been like filled in with some kind of like filler.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, cool. There's
I got a splinter.
A hole in our floor. You got a splinter from the floor?
Yeah.
On that part of the floor or a different part?
Yeah, that part.
Okay. The rest of the floor is okay.
other than it being creaky and going in different directions. I dropped a roll of toilet paper because it's like cold season, so I have toilet paper out to blow my nose constantly, and I dropped it and it rolled across the apartment.
Yeah,
because it's downhill.
Our apartment is not level. It is slanted slightly.
All our furniture
toward the center of the building
has a certain amount of like cardboard stacked underneath it so that it doesn't like wobble or slant.
It has slightly more under the bottom left leg than, or the front left leg, whatever it is, for most pieces.
Yeah.
It's like it's slanted on like two axes. It's slanted like toward the center of our building, basically. I wonder if it was in a different apartment, if it would also be slanted toward the center of the building, or if it's just like all the buildings are slanted that way.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Yeah, no, I guess not. Not without like
going into Walter's apartment
or asking him.
Yeah.
Not going to talk to people. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Talk to you in the next one.
Bye.
Have a good day. Check out Lauren's Redbubble, the Buy Podcast
my Etsy
sticker,
store.
and the Etsy store, and the website. All right. Bye.
Bye.